Hello everyone and welcome back to another True Unscripted Puro video. Today we have another episode of the Rising Sun Renaissance, as today we have night 14 of the G1 Climax. If you missed last episode, you missed B block action, but tonight we have A block action as Shingo Takagi takes on Yuto-Ice, Yota Tsuji takes on Great Khan, Ryohei Oiwa takes on Jake Lee, Hiroki Goto takes on Oleg Boltin, and Konosuke Takeshita takes on SANADA. But before we can get into this show or prepare, I do have one note, and that is that several companies have been added to the Forbidden Door Alliance. Those companies are The Crash, IWRG, and Pro Wrestling Australia, with New Japan now adopting a friendly attitude and talent trading agreements with all three companies. Some of them might become excursion spots. I don't know yet. But with that out of the way, let's prepare for tonight's show. So, select venue location. What? Why is this a lesser event? I'll go with the... we're going with the Gunma Football Stadium. I don't know why it's a lesser event. Whatever. Select venue. Choose broadcasters. Yeah, I guess. I don't know why this is listed as a lesser event. Use selection. Booking team meeting. I mean, it's, yeah. Locker room incidents. Konosuke Takeshita has been talking to Yoshikazu Komori a lot recently. Apparently, Toru Yano and Shota Umino had a blazing argument outside the venue. Okay. Apparently, the pair of Taiji Ishimori and Ryusuke Taguchi have been hanging out a lot recently. Saigo Tachibana has been passing on tips on being more consistent to his protege, Kokan Tachibana. Headman trainer Junji Hirata ran pre-show training drills to work on basics and safety for 9 students. Spoiler. And let's... No, we're not gonna pull a rip. Team Bond. Yeah. And the relationships between Kojima and Ospreay, Umino and Newman, and Nagata and Newman have all worsened. Okay. Let me adjust this show to be a tour. There we go. Absent workers, just Jake Boss and Young. I'm going to get on to pre-booking night 14 of the G1 Climax, and I'll be right back. And on to night 14 of the G1 Climax. We start the show off with an abysmal pre-show match as Hirya Ariwara and Yoshikazu Komori defeats Kokan Tachibana and Marcel Schneider when Komori pinned Tachibana with a fantasy spike. Komori carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. 24 rating, just like last time. Not too bad. Komori's doing amazing though. Like, he might be a young lion, but I might have to push you. But onto our opening match for the main show, as in your next match, Zack Sabre Jr. and Fuminori Abe defeated Hinare and Francesco Akira in a decent match when Fuminori Abe submitted Francesco Akira. 75 rating, love it to see it. Akira seemed off his game. Oh wow. Afterwards, in your next match, Oscar and Taiji Ishimori defeat Shota Umino and Tyson Nakahara in a decent match when Tyson Nakahara was pinned by Taiji Ishimori. 66 rating, not too bad. Afterwards, in your next match, Ren Narita and Dick Togo defeat Drilla Malani and Daikin Nagai in a decent match when Dick Togo pinned Daikin Nagai. Ren Narita carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. Okay. Was not expecting that, but not mad with it. Afterwards, in your next match, Gabe Kidd and Daniel Garcia defeated Yuya Uemura and Masatori Yasuda in a decent match. Yuya was head and shoulders above everyone else, doing a 64. Masatori Yasuda was the weak link, doing a 33. Not too bad. Masatori Yasuda seemed off his game. Oh well. Afterwards, in your last preliminary tag match, Callum Newman and Zane J defeat Aaron Wolf and Tatsuya Matsumoto in a decent match when Zane J pinned Tatsuya Matsumoto. 55 rating, probably the best it was going to get considering how everyone did, but not too bad. Afterwards, on to A block action, as in your first block match of the night, SANADA defeats Konosuke Takeshita in a bout that had great wrestling and good heat. 80 rating, love it to see it. So, SANADA now with 8 points, Konosuke Takeshita still with 8 points. And with SANADA pinning Takeshita, not only does he get his win back from Dominion, but he also probably just earned himself a TV title match. Ooh, can't wait to see how that would play out. But in your next match, Oleg Boltin defeats Hiroki Goto in a decent wild brawl match. Boltin now with 6 points, Goto still with 8 points. Boltin was already mathematically eliminated, but he has put Hiroki Goto on the brink of elimination. Ooh. Will Goto get the last 2 points and potentially secure a spot in the playoffs? Or will he be mathematically eliminated? We'll have to wait and see. But in your next match, Ryohei Oiwa defeats Jake Lee in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling. 74 rating. Jake Lee was slowed a little by working with an injury. Ryohei Oiwa seemed off his game. So, Ryohei Oiwa was already mathematically eliminated, but he now has 6 points. Jake Lee, he's still in contention for the playoffs. He has 10 points. And unless if something drastic happens, he most likely will advance to the playoffs. But it all depends on night 16. But before then, in your next match, Yota Tsuji defeats Great Khan in a wild brawl that had good heat and decent wrestling. Yota Tsuji now with 14 points, securing himself as the winner of A Block, as the most people could get at this point is 12 points, which is not enough to reach the 14 points. So the IWGP Heavyweight Champion has not only secured himself a spot in the playoffs, but he has secured himself a spot in the semifinals, which will be taking place at the G1 finals. Great Khan, however, has been mathematically eliminated, was mathematically eliminated before the match, but he's just further plummeting down the standings as he's still with only 4 points. But in your main event, Shingo Takagi defeats Yuto-Ice in a good match following a Made in Japan. So, Shingo Takagi now with 8 points, Yuto-Ice still with 8 points. 82 rating, love to see it, and we finished the show with a 79 rating. Love to see it. Financial report, just under 50k, and popularity recap, gained some popularity in India, and that is all. So, A block standings at the top of the block with 14 points. You have Yota Tsuji. Then, underneath him with 10 points, you have Jake Lee. Then, all tied for 3rd place with 8 points apiece. All of them on the brink of elimination, though. Hiroki Goto, Shingo Takagi, SANADA, Konosuke Takeshita, and Yuto-Ice. Then, mathematically eliminated in 8th place, tied in 8th place, you have Ryohei Oiwa and Oleg, both with 6 points. Then at the bottom of the block, you have Great-O-Khan with 4 points. Looking ahead to night 15, you have Aaron Wolf taking on Callum Newman, Yuya Uemura taking on Gabe Kidd, Ren Narita taking on Drilla Molyneux, Shota Umino taking on Oscar, and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Hinare. But since we only have one A block show left, I'll run through those matches here. So, night 16, the final A block show, you have from bottom to top, you have Ryohei Oiwa taking on Konosuke Takeshita. Ryohei Oiwa is already eliminated, but if Konosuke Takeshita loses, he's eliminated. After that, you have Shingo Takagi taking on SANADA. The loser of that match becomes mathematically eliminated, but the winner is mathematically eliminated if Hiroki Goto or Oleg Boltin wins their match. Afterwards, speaking of Oleg Boltin will be taking on Great-O-Khan. Great-O-Khan is already mathematically eliminated. If Oleg Boltin loses, he's mathematically eliminated. After that, your co-main event, you have Hiroki Goto taking on Yuto-Ice. I have on my notes that Yuto is mathematically eliminated, but if you remember from a few episodes ago, I fucked up one of the matches, and I had to fix some of my matches for everything to work, so Yuto-Ice is actually alive. I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm gonna guess the loser of the match obviously is gonna be mathematically eliminated. I don't know how it's gonna work, actually. This is the bad part about accidentally fucking up one of your matches. Oh well. But in your main event for night 16, you have Yota Tsuji taking on Jake Lee. The two people at the top of the block fight it off. Now, as I've said before, Tsuji has automatically entered the playoffs with his 14 points. Jake Lee has a good chance to enter the playoffs, but if he wins that match, he will automatically qualify for the playoffs. Now looking at my sheet, I'm gonna have to rework a lot of this. Yeah, because Boltin's... Oh, fuck. Okay. I'm looking at my sheet. I made a critical error. The Boltin Great-O-Khan match, Boltin's actually eliminated. Yeah. I don't know how it's gonna work. But that's gonna be it for today's episode of the Rising Sun Renaissance. I've been True Unscripted Puro, and I'll see you all next time.